urban style individual.
What's up with y'all? Hopefully this video finds you in good spirits, and if not, well, at least you not DSP. And this is something a little bit different, a side quest, if you will. So I want to lay the groundwork before we get into this video. The voice you're going to hear on here is Kiwi Farms admin Josh Moon, okay? And what we're going to be taking a look at is his interpretation or his reaction to Darksydephil's bankruptcy. Okay, so this is a time capsule. This is not Josh reacting to it now. This is him reacting to it back then when it happened. Also, real quick, by the time you're listening to this video, I'm not going to be at home. I'm going to be in a different state, attending a wedding of a really good friend of mine, basically my little brother. And I know I'm usually active in the comments and stuff like that, but you won't see that on this video because I'm going to be at home enjoying the festivities. You know, this is what it is. So I just want to put that out there. But let's get into it.
Not for too much longer, because just listen. Just listen.
Because there's nothing we can do about it. You have to do it. You make a change. And you shouldn't be embarrassed when in life you're defeated in a certain way and you have to make some kind of a change in order to fix it. Because, this is a big loss for me, a big fail for me that I have to do something now that I don't want to do. I never wanted to do in my life, but I have to. So during that whole summer and early fall, I started looking into options and considering various things. I talked to various people, and there were a couple different options that I could have taken. But basically, eventually, I sat down and I saw a lawyer and talked to the lawyer, and the lawyer said, with your situation, there's really no way out besides declaring bankruptcy.
Now, I want y'all to think about what's being said here, okay? Because we know how much money Phil makes, okay, relative. But the lawyer looked at it. This is assuming he's telling the truth, right? Obviously. But the lawyer looked at it and said, it doesn't matter what you do. There's no way out of this. So his debt to income ratio was so crazy that him setting up a payment plan to his creditors wasn't even an option. And that's crazy considering how much he makes per year.
Like, there's no way. How are you going to get out of not only owing all this debt that you have behind the scenes through credit cards and loans, but now you've got a home that you can't pay for and they're going to foreclose on you. Chances are they're going to sue you for the money that you owe. And he's like, looking at your income is inconsistent but good. Like, my income's always been good. The problem is the debts are getting worse because...
No, and this is a guy with no family. When I say family, I'm talking about children, the whole thing, okay? I'm not talking about the situation he got at the snort fort. But imagine you getting yourself into this much debt strictly based on your desires alone. I mean, this is all Phil completely fumbling and picking the absolute wrong choice in every single decision that he made throughout. And this whole time he's talking about bills and taxes and all this other stuff, all the while he's spending all his money on his addictions. Now, I know I'm preaching to the choir, right? We're doing a throwback right now, so we're having a little fun with this.
These are all revolving debts. These are credit card debts that are getting bigger and bigger every year because I can't pay them down. It's just getting worse and worse every moment. So basically, what ended up happening was I saw a bankruptcy lawyer, and we went through a lot of information. A lot, it's been a very arduous process, to say the least, okay? Going through so much different stuff.
Yeah, because that lawyer was probably asking you, what's this reoccurring charge here? What's this reoccurring charge? What is Scopely? And you probably lied to him a couple times because you didn't want him to know about your gambling addiction. But then you realize that at some point I'm going to have to tell this guy the truth if I look to get up out of this in some type of way where I can still function and have life after this. Because you can tell in his body language that there's a lot of uncertainty here. He doesn't really know how this is going to go.
And during, it's hilarious. It really is. During my initial meetings with this bankruptcy lawyer, okay, I basically explained the whole situation of how I got into the situation I'm in. Like, how did you have this amount of income those years and all of a sudden your income went down because of this? And I explained, because trolls and all this. So I explained, I'm an internet personality. I have people who harass me on a daily basis and totally make shit up.
So the first thing out his mouth was not that I left a house in Connecticut when I moved to Seattle and I just left it there, even though I still need to pay on it. It wasn't that I'm an alcoholic. It wasn't that I have a strong desire for fast food because I don't like cooking because I'm lazy. It wasn't that I'm an alcoholic. It was none of those things. It was these phantom trolls who came into my life and forced me to make these terrible decisions. Because Phil, as much as you would like to claim that the trolls are the reason why you are where you are, nobody made you make those decisions, dude. And a lot of time the trolling activity is a reaction to the stupid decisions that you make. So just stop.
And all of that, and they're like, wow, I can't imagine. Now, this is, a lawyer who has no exposure to the whole internet lifestyle of when you're an internet personality, a complete outsider, and just matter-of-factly explaining the facts of the situation of what's going on with me in my daily life. This person is like speechless, flabbergasted. This is what you go through every day? I'm like, yeah, like every fucking day of my life, this is what I go through. My wife, gets attacked on a daily basis, has nothing to do with any of this. Okay.
I seriously doubt that. This is Phil injecting things to create sympathy like he always does. It's just interesting to see that a lot of the tricks that he used then, he's still using now. I don't think for a second that this lawyer was in awe of what Phil was telling him. He's trying to act like the internet was this obscure thing that nobody knew about. Phil, this was 2020. What are you talking about, man? Like, seriously, dude. Now, I'm not saying that the lawyer was well versed in all things the internet, especially pertaining to somebody who is an online influencer, quote unquote, right? But people understand that once you get to a certain level and you have a certain level of limelight on you, you're naturally going to have detractors. Phil, anybody in the limelight has detractors, dude. You keep acting like you special.
Okay. It's pretty fucked up. It's pretty messed up. It's pretty fucked up. All this information and or the stuff that happens to me. So anyway, I fully explained to the bankruptcy lawyer up front, chances are anything that could be public on the internet is going to go public. Okay. And so I had discussions with the bankruptcy lawyer about how to go about this, how to discuss it, what to publicly reveal, what to not publicly reveal. Okay. And essentially, once I had explained.
Let me just pause it right there to recap, because it is. I want to cover this next bit as well, the next 3 minutes. But just to explain, DSP is filing for bankruptcy. And he's talking about it now, but it was discovered a couple months ago because he has 2 homes, despite him constantly talking about how little money he makes, how he can't pay his bills, how he can't pay his mortgage, how he can't pay his taxes. He has 2 homes. He has a home in Seattle, and he has a home in Connecticut across the country, and he pays mortgages on both. And as of December, the bank that has the mortgage for that house is foreclosing on it. And as he's talking to his financial attorney, about this foreclosure, the attorney basically says, you're going to have to file for bankruptcy because your finances are so bad. There is no way that I can see you salvaging your financial situation as it stands with your income and your debts. You have completely expired your options here. You have to go for bankruptcy. It'll hurt and it'll take 10 years to get wiped off your record, but that's what you got to do. And this next part's funny because the attorney basically explains to him what a public document is.
To the bankruptcy lawyer, everything. They responded in this manner. It sounds to me like no matter what, these people who are after you are so crazy fucking obsessed. Not to say fucking, but they're so crazy obsessed with you, they're going to find everything out anyway. Even though they shouldn't have access to the information that it sounds like they get about you, they're going to end up finding it. For example,
how would they know that people are obsessed with you, quote unquote, unless you went up there like a victim? Please help me, because you felt like if you came to them with this victim mentality that somehow was going to get you out of this bankruptcy. That's what I believe. Also, why were you so obsessed with leaving Connecticut so quickly? Why couldn't it wait? That's my point, because it seems as if you were in a hurry, because why else would you allow the mortgage continue to run on a property? That makes no sense unless you were so infatuated with your new young girlfriend that you just wanted to go somewhere else and start your new life as quickly as possible so you can show the internet how much of a normal and regular guy you are. All the while, you got all this debt piling up behind the scenes while also playing mobile games.
Example, a foreclosure, when it happens, when a bank actually goes to sue you for foreclosure, that's a public filing. And even though no normal person would have access to that data or even know where to look, these idiots sound like they will find it because they constantly will go after your information. And if there's someone who literally has no life and just sits there and looks at public filings every day for the name Phil Burnell, they're going to eventually find it.
So how does that make them an idiot if they're able to find information that most people cannot find? By my estimation, that would make them intelligent. Well, at least in that regard, right, Phil? Look at his face, smug face. You think he actually really just said something intelligent there? You didn't. I don't think you've ever said anything intelligent for that matter. But again, he's trying to frame this or frame them, those people, as if it's something crazy. Phil, we already know that you have a following, both good and bad, right? So people are going behind you to ensure that the things that you are saying are true, right? So when you come on stream and you run your mouth and you spin your narratives, people want to see that paperwork to see if the things line up. That's all it is. People are not obsessed. People are just ensuring that you're actually telling the truth.
Guess what happened in December, guys? It was like clockwork. It was literally like clockwork. Absolutely like clockwork, where as soon as the bank formally filed for the foreclosure on me for this property in Connecticut, immediately the trolls find it and post it all over the internet, right?
Well, naturally, because it's public information, Phil. That's how that works. You should have known that that was going to happen. And the best way you could have prepared for that is by telling the truth. So the things that you said would have aligned with the paperwork that eventually would have come out. And you would have gained a lot of brownie points. Maybe would have earned a little bit of your respect back, right? But when the truth came out, people realized Phil was just lying about more things, because at the core of what you were trying to do is write off your addictions as if it was a business expense. You committed fraud, Phil. Allegedly you committed fraud.
Right? It was like the day of. It wasn't even like a delay. So these idiots literally sit there refresh to find this information about me. It's insane. But they found it, okay?
Okay, again, I think that's all I'm going to play, but the meat of his complaint is that people found public information. He really thought in his mind that he can have a foreclosure and he can go bankrupt and nobody would find out. That is between him and the government and God and the person suing him in the court system, and no third party is going to be privy to that.
That's the denseness of Darksydephil. He thinks because his dents give him special treatment, and at one point he had a following, that somehow would carry over to the court system and he would be treated in high regard or something like that. Nah, he's going to treat you like they treat everybody else, Phil. You're not special.
Apparently not realizing that it's like it gets sent to creditors and stuff. It gets sent to the bureaus. So he's ranting and raving that essentially he got found out. And the big thing that he's upset about is this. This thread came out on Saturday, so right after the last stream. And it's a very long thread, and it was one of the threads that I did a lot of testing on regarding the new highlight feature that I was developing to make sure that it was highlighting the right information and making long threads legible. Someone did some digging and found out that darksydephil is a whale for a mobile game. They believe that he has spent tens of thousands of dollars, between like $10,000 is the conservative estimate, and in excess of $30,000 is the generous estimate.
Imagine that. Now, sometimes it's good to go back and look at things once the dust settle, because your eyes and your ears recalibrate, especially when there's newfound information or that person is trying to retcon things like Phil often does, right? It's just interesting that back during this time period, when you go look at some of those videos, he always tried to explain trolls and detractors off as if they were mentally insane. But what do you call someone who spins themselves into bankruptcy because they cannot control pushing a button on a goddamn screen? It's just hilarious to me that this man believed that with the quality of content that he was putting out, and I use that term quality very, very loosely, that he believed he was still going to stay at the top, which tells you once again that Phil had absolutely no foresight. Everything that he does is money and desire driven. This dude is not a man at all.
In regards to exactly how much real money he has poured into this WWE mobile game called WWE Champions. It was sort of unbelievable at first because they call me DSP as his tag in WWE Champion. And the first thought is, someone changed their name or something. But based on his spending habits, based on the fact that he was number 4 in the entire world for this particular game.
Do you know the amount of money that you have to spend on a mobile game to be ranked in the leaderboards? I'm of the firm belief that a lot of these estimates are on the low end. I'm serious, because when you look at these mobile game economies, a lot of times the people that are in the top 20, especially the top 10, you're competing with millionaires. And this is why Phil was destitute and almost made himself homeless, trying to compete with people who have far more money than he does.
And there's no way that it's a joke. Like, it's like a reverse Saudi Arabian prince, if it is a joke. There's a specific post somewhere down the line where they match up they track his login dates because the login information is public, and it very closely matches. Like, he's logging into this game right after his streams, and then right before his streams, and then not during the streams.
Sound like a crackhead, don't it? The second he can get to it, that's what it is. You feel me? He all over it. He just cannot help himself. I'm of the firm belief that there's times where he was also playing it on stream. Now, he's cleaned it up a little bit now, right? Because he knows that people are watching with a keen eye. But I have no doubt in my mind that Phil was neck deep in the WWE Champions, and he still is. Because think about this, man. When did that game come out? 2017 or something like that? And if I'm correct, he was a part of the game from the beginning. He was playing it from the jump, right? There's no way he's going to give something up like that. The sunken cost fallacy that comes with that. Imagine if he did give it up. Imagine if he did give up playing WWE Champions. He would probably be more depressed from the space that comes between him and the thing that he ever truly loved. Seriously, I think he would be far worse if he stopped playing WWE Champions, because for so long it was a part of his life and it was his refuge. So if you take WWE Champions away, it has to be replaced with something that's actually productive.
So either this person is someone who's extremely dedicated to putting on this facade to the point where they're spending tens of thousands of dollars, or they're DSP, which is the more likely explanation. They went into the Discord group, and this kind of explains a mystery that the DSP people have been having for some time, where he refuses to make an official Discord, and he refuses to participate in third-party Discord ran by actual fans of his. But on some of his streams, people had noticed that the Discord icon was on his desktop, and people were asking, why do you have Discord if you refuse to use Discord? And the answer is that his clan, Uselessness, on the WWE Champions mobile game, has a Discord server, and he is considered like the biggest spender in the game. And because he is such a heavy spender, and because he makes high places on the high score tables, all the people in his clan benefit as a result. And they were very eager to ban anyone asking about DSP. They were quick to deny that that's DSP. They were quick to deny that he was a member of their group, because they really, really did not want to chase this guy off, who they were all kind of benefiting from the presence of.
You hear that? This man was spending so much money on this damn mobile game that he was beginning to cultivate a cult underneath him to where he didn't even have to do anything. His dents would do his bidding because he was spending so much that they were benefiting from it too. How thrown off do you have to be? I mean, Phil, there's so many other things that you can spend your money on that are still bad, but are much, much better than WWE Champions, man. Seriously.
And I think this is his gamer tag or whatever. He has all these different things. So either DSP coincidentally had Discord after denying using Discord, after saying that he couldn't figure out the app and he didn't want to use it, while at the same time someone was impersonating him on multiple platforms and spending tons and tons of money while doing it, or the person who is now going bankrupt is like a mentally ill addict of mobile games and spent tens of thousands of dollars that were allegedly going towards taxes and bills on a cheap, shitty gacha game ran by WWE.
We're going to go with the second option, sir. Ding. It's very obvious that DSP is lying about this, okay? There's no doubt about that. Nobody in their right mind is spending all their money trying to mimic Phil. That's not happening. Now, you might have dents out there that's spending all their money trying to impress Phil, trying to get his attention. But to think that he really tried to paint this as somebody trying to impersonate him, even to the point of them spending crazy amounts of money, right? And I think this story here, this narrative here that DSP created around WWE Champions in terms of detractors is why he leans in so hard to detractors are so crazy, because he was trying to use this as a backdrop to create the prototypical detractor behavior. Look how obsessed they are. Look how far they are willing to go. But all the while, he was full of shit. And then, now, let's be real about it. We all knew that, right? But what it really boiled down to was, it's not always about what you know. It's about what you can prove, right? We all seen Training Day. So that's what it boiled down to. So when the bank leaks came out and people were interrupting his phone calls for the bankruptcy, a lot of that was trying to get to the truth, because people knew Phil was lying, but they didn't really have a smoking gun. And that's what this was. But that's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Urban style content. I'm dead.